Hey folks, welcome to the future. Tonight cities breathe, and the silence has the thickness of a sky stitched with artificial stars. You will wake up in a China that isn't a movie set. It is a living machine smelling of tea and the delicate incense of osmanthus burning on corner altars, where every street pulses to an invisible beat. Forget the cliché neon of science fiction. Here, quantum-levitating maglev trains whistle above the rooftops, while vertical rice farms inside skyscrapers gleam beneath solar panels printed with photon paper dragons. If you're enjoying the journey, drop a like and subscribe, but only if you truly like what I do here. Take a moment to tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is there. I love seeing that human map light up, light by light, across the planet. Now turn off the lamps. Switch on a fan for that hum that lulls you to sleep and inhale deeply. Let's glide slowly into this night together. Congratulations! You've just woken up in the year 2525 in China. The good news, you're more than alive, and the city wants you to breathe with her. The bad news, she measures every breath and your routine is completely different from normal. What will living in a metropolis in 2525 be like? Let's find out together. Your bed is a thermal kang, the old heated platform reinvented with recycled water tubes, covered by a bamboo mesh that warms and cools as if it were skin. The alarm isn't a buzzer, it's a digital muyu, a small temple drum turned into a calm metronome. Each beat draws air through your nose and releases it from your chest. The curtains open by themselves and the window breathes through bamboo charcoal filters. The air carries a hint of chrysanthemum, a flower common in teas that refreshes and calms, mixed with the fine dust the wind brings from the north. The wall on the left, a panel you'd call the echo mural, sums up the city in one line: sleep quality acceptable, dust high, hydrate. You notice your own reflection in the glass and behind it, numbers that never asked permission to live in your morning. Appearance stars, reliability index, a cold counter of certainties and exaggerations. It isn't a loud judgment, it's a persistent whisper. You inhale to the drum's rhythm, feel the warm bamboo floor under your feet, and realize the world you know, delivery and endless feeds, has shrunk. Everything is still familiar, only with different weight. The kettle became an algorithm, the street became a garden, and good morning comes with a reminder that every gesture gets a grade. Keep the light low and the fan on. Let's cross this day together. And we begin now. You're 29 years old and wake slowly like someone rising from a lake's surface. The room opens the curtains in silence and lets in an ivory light that mirrors the winter sky over the Huanghe. The day's first sound comes from a digital muyu, a small wooden temple drum here turned into a breathing metronome. Its beats remind you morning is starting. Lying on your thermal kang, the traditional platform bed, reinvented with recycled water tubes that heat and then release warmth like a cup of tea exhaling, you feel the warm bamboo floor and the slightly humid air, proof that the activated charcoal filters worked through the night. The living wall on the left, which you call the echo mural, translates data into simple phrases. It says good morning and projects on the limestone plaster, a line of flowing characters. Hydration needed, 400 milliliters. Sleep quality, regular. Today, the wind brings northern dust. The echo mural gathers air sensors, public agenda, and small coexistence tips, something between notice board and patient monk. You see your reflection in the glass film and it returns more than a face. It also returns invisible social scores, the ones that weigh more than they appear. You breathe deeply and decide to postpone that meeting. For a few minutes, the world will be only light, bamboo, arriving dust, and an opening morning. The first action before even getting up is wetting your mouth. You take the porcelain mug, the same bluish-white as your grandmother's bowls, and drink roof water. Roof water is condensation. Cool panels atop the building capture night vapor, like fogged glass, and turn it into drops that descend through microchannels to your floor's reservoir. It tastes of neutrality, which is another way of saying it doesn't hinder the body from waking. The echo mural confirms with a light vibration, "Good start." You whisper if there's tea, and the kitchen replies in almost shy speakers that there is chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum, common in Chinese infusions, lies between sweet and bitter, and also sits on the sill to ward off insects without poison. You let the buds steep in 80-degree water, the kitchen knows 80 is exact, and lean your face into the steam. The aroma recalls autumn in Suzhou, even if you've never been. Memory in 2525 is also a public service. In the background, the window slices the city into strips. On the high-tier maglevs, magnetic levitation trains floating on electromagnetic fields, slide like silver threads. In the middle tier, pedestrian walkways draped with vines. On the low tier, bicycles and sodium battery delivery carts zigzag among gardens. You rise carefully, feel the warm fabric of the hybrid tatami under your feet, and notice how the northern dust scratches the clarity. The muyu slows, and for a moment, you imagine it would be easy to fall back asleep, but you don't. The shower is an ionic mist, a 90-second ritual that seems small, yet solves the essentials. The booth releases a cool vapor, whose charged particles grab sweat, oil, and microdust like tiny water magnets. No need to scrub, just raise your arms, turn once, inhale through the nose, and let the mist handle the rest. The floor gathers the droplets and pushes them to a central grate, where bamboo charcoal and ceramic membranes filter everything again. You think of your grandmother boiling water in iron kettles, and the image doesn't feel distant. Time, like mist, envelops without hurting. A discreet inner display reminds you the city restricts immersion baths to east wind days, when the river turbines spin faster. You'd smile if that was something to smile about. Then, out of the mist, a blade of warm air dries the body and seals the pores with fragrance. In the mirror, the vital sign camera blinks green. You tell it you're fine. Knowing devices don't sympathize. It answers only, pulse 58, oxygen 98, skin hydrated. You touch the scar on your knee, memory of a bicycle fall on Chongqing walkways, and think scars remain human even if glass pretends not to see them. Mouth care is the most meticulous part. The sonic brush, light as a spoon, vibrates with hydroxyapatite paste, the very mineral of enamel in fine powder, to seal micro cracks. It stings not, foams not, only hushes. You slide the floss gel, a plant film that glides between the teeth, captures residue, dissolves. The tongue scraper is smooth ceramic, painless, leaving everything tasting of Asian pear, the same aroma as the mild tea you just drank. The faucet is almost a person. It speaks little and shuts itself, controlling flow like one spares a friend, sending used water to the floor's washer. You drip 2 drops of tea seed oil, camellia that has seasoned woks for centuries, into moisturizer, shielding your face from northern dust. The Echo mural recommends roof water eye drops, and you comply, because trusting small reminders is less tiring than trusting memory. From the mirror's corner, an icon insists on being seen. The usual numbers: social approval grade, beauty score, deviation counter. Not now, you tell yourself. The mirror erases the icon for a minute, obedient. In the kitchen, the pot is not just a pot, it thinks. You call it the mist bowl, but the technical name is absorption cauldron, a porous ceramic basin with a low-energy coil that heats by micro-vacuum instead of flame. It cooks silently and economically. You add corn, water, a handful of dried lotus leaves, and 2 spoons of microalgae grown in neighborhood tanks. The result is gleaming porridge, a morning staple for millennia. Here, light as fog, reinforced with proteins discovered this century. Beside it you try lotus rice, a new grain raised in shallow tanks where lotus roots lend fiber and natural oils to starch. Rice with an improved resume. The cauldron knows the timing. It shuts itself and whispers it's ready. You finish with ginger threads and a spoon of plant shacha, a thick sauce born on coastal corners, reinvented without fish. To drink, more roof water and a cup of chrysanthemum tea. You remember that here tea isn't fashion, it's habit, and chrysanthemum is the flower that cools the head when dust and haste dispute your body. In the corner, the phase refrigerator, a cold cabinet using phase change materials to keep temperature without noisy motors, blinks discreetly, warning of pear slices, peanut tofu, and jujube cakes. You pick one cake and save the others for the afternoon. Eating in 2525 is also chatting with polite objects. In the wardrobe, the textile curator waits like a gentle secretary. The curator is an intelligence that knows climate, local etiquette, and your average mood. It cross-checks data and chooses clothes like composing a short poem. It suggests an ensemble inspired by hanfu, the layered han garment, remade with conductive bamboo fiber and recycled silk, a soft-cut crossover tunic, wide-leg trousers, a light coat whose weave opens micro-vents when skin warms. The fabric reads your pulse and decides whether to help. If help is needed, it channels air through invisible ducts, coolness without noise. Color, you ask. Light plum, for northern dust. Occasion. Morning green service. Avoid shine. You think that, of all the house voices, this one knows you best. The mirror shows the outfit on your body, projects adjustments, then asks if you authorize. You do. In the sleeves, flat little pockets hold the osmotic canteen, a tube that draws moisture from the air and turns it into water. And the pocket nebulizer, a cylinder that mists sensitive leaves. On your feet, sneakers with rubber tree sole and hemp weave. On your chest, a small few pendant, good fortune, in teakwood, a gift from your mother. You breathe and let the curator finish with a scarf and sash. The clothes don't make you prettier, they make you belong. There's a difference. Now the social world insists. You have no children, and though you're not proud to admit it, you don't blame yourself. In 2525, relationships go through an approval app marketed as an ethical mirror. It shows qualities and flaws as labels: reliability, punctuality, mood variation, neighbor care history. It also shows a beauty scoreboard, a star system rating symmetry and skin health, and a deviation counter some call the truth register. The register cross-checks public promises with real deliveries, delays with justifications, yesterday's statements with today's behavior, and from that infers how many times you've lied. If the number is high, doors close. If low, doors open. If average, you wait in line. You know new friendships require spotless history, bonds require constant performance, slip-ups now have too long memory. So you learn to cultivate what needs no grade. Plants, breathing, small kindnesses. Some days that feels little. Today it feels enough. Your function in the city is simple yet demanding. 90 minutes of exercise a day, light running along suspended alleys or strength training in the courtyard, and along the way, water every plant you pass. It's work that blends personal health and public service, ancient as hoeing and new as algorithms, keeping green what keeps humans. You tighten the armband that counts steps and heartbeats like old copper bracelets once checked pulse, and inspect the kit. The osmotic canteen is full, the nebulizer charged, the mycorrhiza powder, root-friendly fungi, in thin sachets. You slip into your pocket a packet of rain amaranth seeds, a plant that roots quickly and holds slope soil. The echo mural warns, today, prioritize north-facing balconies. Dust calls for moistened leaves. Understood, you say, liking the sound of that word in your mouth. In the hallway, the door opens with a short puff, a relief of fresh air scented with pine. You lock quietly and set off. The elevator is as wide as a courtyard, lit by a synthetic rice paper ceiling. It projects on the canopy an autumn Hangzhou sky and plays a barely audible jiao flute. You feel your shoulders drop half a centimeter. Reaching ground level, the avenue isn't just an avenue. It's a garden street. 2 slow lanes for bikes and carts, walking corridors and biosorption trenches with reeds and lotus flowers. You call it a green artery, but the official name is infiltration corridor. Above, maglev trains gleam and do what trains have always done, promise distances smaller than imagined. Below, Chinese plane tree shade cuts the path. You start running to the inner Muyu's rhythm, and every 50 steps, stop to tend a leaf, a pot, a bamboo. There is no supervisor, no clock. There is the city watching. You moisten a bonsai in a reimagined hutong window, ancient alleys turned into co-living patios, mist and ivy ribbon climbing an old post, drip 3 drops on the cracked soil of a clove tree in a wooden box. A third-floor lady says thank you. You reply, you're welcome, and the world shrinks to 2 syllables. You reach the Belt Plaza, an open ring between buildings where people stretch, practice qigong, a breath movement exercise that tunes the body with air, and talk unhurried. There, shallow, recirculating fountains let water fall in thin sheets for children to wet their fingers, and large stone pots hold bamboo that plays wind music. You breathe with them, count steps, do the squats the band orders, feel your body warming its own morning. At each pause you water a tea bed, mint, chrysanthemum, jasmine, check moisture on bridge tomatoes, a variety grown on accordion trellises, and spread mycorrhiza near young trees. A young man pushing a pruning cart says, today has too much dust. You answer dust is a visitor, and he laughs politely. No rush, no heroism, only a fine accord between muscles, plants, city. You finish the circuit when the inner Muyu, that wooden drum that started the day, decides to fall silent. The band vibrates and says one short breathing set remains. You comply and for a moment, let the entire city breathe with you. Maglevs shooting like arrows without tearing anything, walkways dripping recycled water like fake rain, windows opening to the persistent northern dust and to hands equally persistent. You walk the last meters home with the canteen nearly empty, and the feeling that, even in a place where numbers rate you, there are services only the body can provide. The echo mural will record the route. The textile curator will suggest switching to a lighter coat in the afternoon. Apps will keep weighing your face and small emissions. But for an entire morning, you were simply someone who ran, watered, breathed, and returned freshness to leaves without fingers. When the door closes and the ivory room light dresses the walls again, you realize the day has indeed begun. And that, despite the scoreboards, there exists a kind of approval that comes from things that do not speak. You cross the apartment threshold and the city greets you with a warm puff of filtered air, as if a giant lung were exhaling through the corridors. The elevator descends in hydraulic silence, and before the doors open, the panel on your wrist projects into the air what replaces a salary in your century: city dividends, common service points, and breathing credit. City dividends are shares distributed to each resident according to how they keep the infrastructure alive: watering, composting, monitoring, guiding. Common service points are the access currency. They unlock medical consultations, priority transport, and extra energy minutes for cooking or printing food. Breathing credit is a neighborhood-wide breathable limit, a metric balancing plants, people, and pollution. When you care for the green and move your body, you raise that ceiling for everyone. All of this is backed by verifiable metrics, not promises. Sensors in pots, park turnstiles, route humidity cameras, no wallet or bills. Your care history pays the day's bill. The app calls this digital gong day, using the ancient word for merit, and you grasp the cultural subtext. Doing good and accumulating merit isn't new in China. What changed is the invisible spreadsheet now shadowing each gesture. At the bottom of your interface, a discrete notification appears. Today, target of 90 validated exercise minutes and 300 equivalent liters of water returned to urban soil. You breathe in slowly. It's a lot, but it keeps the district cool when the north wind brings dust. It is work, and it belongs to you. You prefer the streets to the gym's air conditioning. You choose the suspended marsh walkway, a green corridor that zigzags above an old expressway turned into a garden. The pavement vibrates slightly with each step, capturing kinetic energy and sending microcharges to underground water pumps. The surface is rough as tree bark, made of recycled tire rubber mixed with bamboo fiber. On your right, a programmed shadow band follows the sun's course. Photovoltaic panels tilt their slats like gills, leaving slits of light that recall banana leaves. You run at conversation pace, arms loose, while the lung clock, a soft band on your sternum translating respiratory variation into guidance, whispers, cadence steady, saturation good, accelerate slowly. Down below, the old neighborhood still holds the lines of hutong, those narrow lanes. Only now they've been stitched to micro-marshes with rice and reed in long planters. The city decided avenues would become rivers, and where asphalt once lay, there are now water sheets with fish eating larvae. Resting on the handrail are mist modules, your reinvented hoses. They're called capillary serpents, thin tubes that, when clipped to your belt, suck water from the condensation pouch and return it as cold mist, drop by drop, without waste. Capillary serpent isn't magic. It's micro-perforation, porous ceramic, and a pump the size of a coin. You click them in place the way one lights incense, with respect and routine. Your gear looks simple. In truth, it solves old problems. At your waist you carry the condensation pouch, a flat flask of ceramic impregnated with hygroscopic salt that pulls moisture from the air while you run. Bodies in motion produce vapor. The pouch sequesters that water and stores it. On your leg, strapped with bands, goes the mist ring, a light hoop that opens like a bracelet and releases ultrafine droplets when the sensor detects plant thirst. The mist ring is your portable hose, no jet, no spray, a cloud that lands on leaves and seeps in without compacting soil. In your hand, you hold the green luopan, a gardening compass that uses near-invisible light to read leaf reflectance and sense needs. Heat, water, salt, light. Luopan is the traditional feng shui compass name. Here it's reprogrammed for plants. When the pointer vibrates and flashes yellow, you know that pot needs 40 equivalent milliliters. Cool water applied as mist under the veins. You approach and speak softly to the interface because speaking logs care more precisely. Needs shade, 6 minutes. Cool water, 40 millius. Note the rim is compacted. The interface replies, care record assigned, loose soil metric released. At day's end, that shows up as points, not the shine of invisible money, but real proof that something green thanked you with a spike of transpiration. Your choice of 90 street minutes is not just aesthetic. The city pays better when you move outdoors, because each step activates valves in planters and pushes roof-stored water to lower levels. You pass a stretch where bamboo narrows the path, and the floor hides an elastic tube mesh. When you step, the mesh inflates and deflates, pushing grey water, the kind from dishwashing or bathing, through the roots. It's naive to say there are no hoses. There are, only buried, invisible, smart. Beside each planter is a mist mouth, a small cylinder with a droplet icon. You aim the loo open, the mouth recognizes your care quota is open today and uncaps. Left hand holds the mist ring, right hand guides the cloud to the stomata. Those little mouths on leaves where plants trade gases. The ring spreads water like dew. The sensor sings on your wrist. 10 plants hydrated. Adjust spectrum for jasmine. You adjust. The scent shifts subtly, like freshly opened chrysanthemum tea. Chrysanthemum is a traditional infusion flower, calming and slightly bitter. You sense tradition inside the new, as if your grandmother touched your shoulder along the walkway. In the distance, a maglev, a train floating on rails thanks to magnets never touching metal, glides in silence. The vibrations rustle leaves, and the mist sparkles in droplets dancing in the air. You pass through a park gate and slow your stride. The lung clock suggests a short sprint, a 100-meter burst, and you comply. Your job is movement, and the city harvests movement like a crop. With every sprint, the pavement channels micro-vibrations to wake the roots. It's a gentle waking, like ringing a temple bell to draw the local god's attention. Sensors flash tiny lights on planter edges, green charging, orange asking help, blue saturated. You learn to read this language like you memorized characters in childhood. While you run, a neighborhood panel shows the morning balance. 34 liters returned by you, 130 by the district as a whole. This isn't competition, it's choral rhythm. In past Beijing, traffic shaped mood and time. In 25 on 25 Beijing, the agenda is moisture. At the end of this stretch, you reach the first water reload kiosk, a thin pillar marked Peony Station. Stations take flower names instead of numbers because they're easier to remember, and because the district chose so in the last digital assembly. You dock the condensation pouch in the pillar's socket. The station tastes your sweat via the salt sensor on your wrist and returns purified water to your flask, adding to what you collected by running. Nothing is lost. Breath becomes irrigation. Sweat becomes mist. Effort becomes cool shade for someone you don't even know. You pass the municipal gym, a translucent hall where treadmills run backward. Your stride powers fans that blow air onto greenhouse leaves through ducts. Inside, 3 people run with perfect posture, and the fans channel wind to a rooftop garden. It's beautiful, but you prefer the street. The gym has low-volume music and air that smells of pine spray. The street offers birds, elders practicing Tai Chi by pergolas, kids on magnetic wheel bikes that don't topple, and fruit vendors printing peach slices in porous gel for those needing flavored hydration. Your watch offers to start a 20-minute strength session because your biceps ask for load. You decline for now. Save it for the afternoon. You like feeling the city as your gym, climbing reactivated stone stairs in parks, pushing compost carts, squatting to loosen compacted soil. The app doesn't argue. It adapts. Just as it adapted when you decided to run barefoot over cork-expanded pavement sections, which strengthen the foot's arch, and, they say, improve your relationship with the ground. The system logs gradually, heart rate steady, long strides, upright posture, economy of motion. Each data point returns the same idea. The body is public infrastructure too. While you hydrate a camellia tea planter, a lady in a red cap and neighborhood association flags passes by. She smiles at you, and for the first time that morning someone speaks aloud. A lot of work today. You reply, looking into her eyes, voice low so as not to startle birds. The park thanked me before I did. The lady shows in her palm a rolled piece of paper, actual paper, a rarity, with a Du Fu line printed. Spring in Guangzhou smells of dust and flower. She says her grandson taught her how to use the sincerity measuring app and laughs shyly. Numbers don't measure touch, she says. You know, the algorithm calculating your sincerity index tracks contradictions between what you promise and what you deliver, gaps between speech and data. The idea is simple and hard. Time-proved public trust lowers social costs, so the system measures it. But measurement becomes wool. You've seen friendship invites vanish as soon as someone rates you for an old lie, a silly excuse to skip a meeting, for instance, and your score drops a point. The world calls it safety. You feel it like green-tinted glass between hands. That's why plant work saves you. You speak less, deliver more, and chlorophyll is a language the app can't twist. It's affection without adjective. In a carved stone hollow, you activate a routine called bamboo shadow, a mode that times irrigation with micro-interruptions mimicking canopy rain. Bamboo likes breathing shade, not soaking. The Luopen confirms 3 cycles of 20 seconds. Water falls like cool silk on the back of a hand. You think of lunch, check the common service point balance. Today you could print a portion of sea tofu, soy curd made with algae grown on river scaffolds, or secure a quiet slot in a nap capsule mid-afternoon. The screen suggests a third option. Donate some of your breathing credit to a nearby schoolyard that took children from another province, fleeing a harsher dust storm season. You breathe deep and donate without thinking. In ancient China, villages shared wells. The city merely reinvented the well in numbers and pixels. It appears on your panel as a golden circle beside the school's name, and you feel a subtle click on the wristband, a haptic thank you. The air seems fresher suddenly, but you know it's only perception. Even so, perceptions move legs. Last stretch of running. The lung clock asks for a progressive, 5 minutes building, 3 at easy trot, 2 at 85% max. You obey, and at the end, spin your body on its axis in a square of shade, breath coming in short waves. The mist ring, now half empty, still releases a generous cloud over the mint bed. You pass your hand over the plant, bring fingers to your nose, and morning folds into sound and scent. Maglevs drawing silver lines, elders marking the world's weight with repeated movements, wind wandering among solar plates, a child shouting look, rain that doesn't wet, and you think, yes, this work seems small, but holds a whole slice of the city on its shoulders. The interface shows 96 validated movement minutes, 312 equivalent liters returned, loose soil in 14 pots, 2 breathing credit donations confirmed. A less gentle notification blinks next. Your appearance index dropped 0.2 points after the neighborhood profile photo. Someone thought your uneven beard ages you. You laugh alone because age in 25.5 signals you cared. The app reminds you to adjust your haircut at Peony Station's automated salon. You delay. What made you handsome today was that sweat turned to dew. The rest is noise. You enter a quiet courtyard where recycled paper lanterns recall the color of apricots. You set the condensation pouch on a communal rack so the ceramic can dry and recover the salt. The community shares salt because salt is the heart of condensation. Beside it, a panel lists the city dividends your block will receive at week's end. Priority cleaning of air filters, a public calligraphy class at the library, repair of magnetic bike rails at a curve with a pothole. Nothing comes from nothing. The list is born of what you've done together, watering, moving, recycling. At the panel's edge, the district's cultural curators highlight a proverb. Who carries water also carries history. You feel lighter than when you left home, though your shorts are heavy with dried sweat. At 29, still childless because compatibility apps have combed mercilessly through your flaws and crooked sincerities, you find in this routine a place of belonging that needs no approval. The city knows you water, the plants know you were there. If you made it this far running with me, breathing calmly and feeling this dew open like tea at dawn, here's the invite. Stay with us to the end of this journey. Noon and night still await. The choices that weigh more than numbers, the meetings that escape the apps, and what the city doesn't measure yet transforms. Dim the lights, sip some water, slow your eyelids. The next bend in the path is already lit. You finish the district routine the way one closes a rice field, after the right irrigation. Unhurried, with a silent bow. The wrist panel consolidates what you delivered this morning into numbers the city reads as commitment. Equivalent liters returned, soil aerated, common service points, city dividends projected for week's end. The interface suggests a route to your next stop and opens a discrete booking. Combat class at 1840 in the Wuguan at Lotus Station. Wuguan means martial arts training hall. The word merges physical frame and ethics, and inside it fit calligraphy, sweat, and silence. You confirm with a tap, transfer a small fraction of your breathing credit to subsidize the tatami, and like dropping coins in a temple, donate 2 points to the beginner's glove fund. That replaces a monthly fee. Those who care for the structure train within it. The screen says there's a 30-minute wait before class and suggests a pit stop at a vapor pharmacy between the park and the station. A vapor pharmacy is a kiosk brewing tonics by heating plant extracts to the exact point. It has existed for decades, but now reads your blood through the wrist and adjusts what comes from the spout. You feel the selective hunger of someone a step from a long night. Something to wake the tendons without jittering the head, clear the focus, warm the knees. At 29, you know your body like someone who's walked the city map on foot. You decide tonight you want clean explosion. Confirm. The path lights up like water running between smooth stones. The descent to transport is almost silent, except for the thin song of magnetic bike wheels on cork ramps. You choose the neighborhood maglev line, the train that floats above the rail because magnetic fields keep it suspended. With no friction, only haste and precision remain. The nearest station is called osmanthus, like the fragrant olive flower used in sweets and teas. By 2525, almost all stations swapped numbers for flowers because the city found Centaid's memory. You tap your wrist on the portal. The gate reads your common service points, notes you'll carry a tatami in your body in minutes, and grants priority passage. In the hall, translucent paper panels light up with dynamic maps. They show currents of people and wind, because both move the same doors. The maglev arrives in a silver curve. Inside, discrete capsules scent the air with pine oil grown in northern Hebei, and the seat shifts density under your hips according to calf tension. You needn't ask for a window. Windows are the whole wall now. Outside, you see the green corridor over the old expressway where you just ran, the mosaic of courtyards with paper lanterns made of rice fiber and algae, the new ceramic roofs drinking dew and returning it in wide drops under bamboo grottos. A small font notice appears. Attention, next stop Lotus. Cultural reminder, short bow on entry, greetings on exit, silence before shouting. It's an inline joke, but also a reminder. Ancient codes didn't vanish. They were reprogrammed for today's rush. On the way to the Wuguan, you detour to the vapor pharmacy. The kiosk smells of pharmacopoeia and street, root, heated metal, tangerine, rain. You choose a pre-workout that didn't exist in the 21st century, and had it existed, marketing forums would chase it. Juju burst tea with cordyceps, aged root ginseng, black salt, and glutinous rice microgel. Cordyceps is a fungus used for centuries in Chinese medicine. They say it boosts energy by improving how the body uses oxygen. The rice microgel is plant glycogen turned into slow-release gel. No sugar spikes, just steady fuel. The ginseng is harvested in pieces of certified age, and age here isn't fetish, it's chemistry. The older, the more complex, the deeper the push it gives. Black salt, rich in minerals, draws water into muscle. It's an electrolyte with an accent. The machine reads your pulse and adjusts the proportions. You bite a transparent 4-centimeter tablet that feels like biting an elastic cloud of tea. Heat opens your chest from within like a temple door. The attendant, a girl with alert eyes and a bamboo tattoo on her wrist, says, "Today the master will ask for long mabu." Mabu is horse stance, a sustained squat teaching root and patience. You answer, "All right, I need ground." She smiles. "Then take this too," and places in your hand a sachet of 5-flavor extract, a classic Shisandra mix that sharpens tongue and focus. City science meets ancient science at the counter, like two people who always knew each other, but today finally converse at the same table. The Lotus Station Wuguan occupies the ground floor of an ancestral block, an old tool workshop where, last century, market structures were welded. They kept the wooden beams, cleaned the soot, planted a paulownia tree in the courtyard, lilac flowers falling like slow rain, and left the skylight to breathe. In the hall, a calligraphy wall shows lines like bird trails. Ren, Yi, Li, Ji, Jin. Humanity, justice, right, wisdom, trust. The words aren't decoration. They are the map you enter to follow. Beside it, a digital paper screen lists groups and times, but something older rules more. A small drum hung on a rope. You touch it with your fingers, and the drum answers deep. The sound doesn't summon, it confirms. You remove your shoes and feel underfoot the hemp and algae fiber floor, springing your step without stealing it. Master Lin, lean, grey beard trimmed, eyes that laugh before any other muscle, approaches, measures your shoulders like a tailor and says, "Today, Baji." Baji Quan is the fist of 8 extremes, a Chinese martial art famous for explosive elbow, shoulder, hip, and knee strikes. The name speaks of amplitude, of reaching the limit. Used by imperial bodyguards, it trains the body to be hammer and spring at once. You answer, "I came for that." He nods slightly and points to the line in front of the paper mirror. The warm-up begins with Zhan Zhuang, literally standing like a tree. The posture looks simple, arms forming a circle in front of the chest as if embracing an invisible barrel, knees releasing their weight, the lower back shaped like an arch that guards the breath. Zhanzhuang seems like nothing, yet it is everything. It teaches that strength starts without moving. The master walks among you, correcting details a hurried eye would miss. The toes that grip too much, the shoulder that rises for no reason, the tongue pressed to the roof of the mouth to close the microcosmic circuit. A qigong idea aligning breath and intent. Then comes Mabu, the horse stance. Time stretches inside the thigh fibers. The master says, "Don't accumulate pain, accumulate direction." Next is Gongbu, the bow stance. One leg forward, the other extended back. Your steps glide along a painted track that vibrates if you make noise. Noise here signals error. You alternate Shun Bu and Ni Bu. Step that follows, step that retreats, until the room moves like the sea. The master calls, "Ding!" and everyone freezes, breath glowing like an ember that will not die. A woman to your right lets out a thin thread of air that makes the paulownia in the courtyard tremble. You glance sideways, and she smiles without teeth. This part unravels me. You nod. The class, wordless, has already rearranged your inner furniture. Then comes technique. Baji works short and close, elbows striking inward, shoulders battering like rams, knees rising to pin. The master demonstrates Bajot, the 8-point elbow, a small circle with vast intent. The whole body arrives together like a wave rolling itself. Next, Pao Quan, the cannon fist, a brief triceps explosion that pierces target and air. Learning holds no secrets, only repetitions. The Wu Guan has installed a modern wooden dummy, Mu Ren Zhuang, with polymer arms and sensors that vibrate when the angle is right. You place the elbow base on the dummy's arm. Your wrist buzzes, confirming proper body structure. Heel to elbow, hip to fist, gaze steady. The master touches your forearm and says, "Don't push, deliver." It sounds like philosophy, but it is physics. Empty force, full force, force transmitted. He warns, beware the hidden shoulder, letting the shoulder crawl toward the neck, which smothers strike and breath. You adjust, feel power rise from the floor and pass through the wood, as if the beam beneath the floor answers. The sensor lights green. Technology does not push or pull, it confirms. The body thanks the confirmation. The class rotates through 3 stations: dummy impact, circular footwork, and chinna. Chinna is joint control technique, catching tendons and joints to neutralize without tearing. You pair with how. "Watch my left wrist," he says. "I will," you reply. He offers the arm. You apply kai, a twist that disengages the biceps lever, meant to stop movement, not cause pain. The master adjusts a few micro-degrees with a finger. One finger is a continent. You switch to Baguazhang circle walking. Baji borrows Bagua steps to hide entry and exit. The floor vibrates when you strike with the heel, teaching lightness. Sweat drips from your brow, touches your mouth. You taste the 5-flavor extract the attendant gave you. Sweet, sour, salty, bitter, pungent, life entire in your pores. Each round, the wristband logs joint loads, the room reads and corrects, and the body learns a grammar it ignored when you were watering mint that morning. In the last third, the master calls for light sanshou. Sanshou, or sanda, is Chinese free sparring, throws, kicks, punches, but kept light to study angles, not break bodies. Protective gear that feels like Silk House's inertia sensors. They judge only honesty of impact. You and Hao agree softly. No kicks above the waist, controlled throws, pause at any sign. The wooden siren marks time. Hao likes straight-line attacks. You widen into gongbu, yield half a step, glue your shoulder to his chest. Baji in its element. The guard sensor vibrates. Power transferred, no excess. "Chi!" the master shouts. You learn to stick without losing axis. Hao grins. "Try the sweep," you suggest. He does. You draw a crescent with your foot, blanking his sweep. No one falls. The old ceiling echoes the taps as if approving the rhythm. Here, face star ratings and sincerity scores stay outside. On the mat, only the body's proof counts. Humility and joy, 2 ancient things that still fit. Cooling down is part of the art. Under the Polonia, the master leads a brief Ba Duan Jin, the 8 brocades. Arms lift the sky, bow is drawn, trunk twists, kidneys are rubbed, hands reach feet, wrists turn, spine shakes like bamboo, chest unwinds, breathing softens. "Tomorrow longer, Mabu," he says. "Explosion without root doesn't last." A little girl taps your calf. What is Baji? "Doing something small with great force and making sure nothing breaks," you reply. She laughs like a bell. You strap the now dry condensation pouch to your waist. A light bow from everyone. The master strokes the drum. Its sound closes the night like a teapot lid. The wrist display records, training validated, micro scratches corrected, shoulder flexibility up, tatami donation acknowledged, review session offered tomorrow at 2000. You step into the street, body light, mind warm. The city feels set for a feast. Rest your gaze, breathe through your nose, and keep going. The story will lead you down corridors statistics cannot measure. Stay. Beyond technique lie choices, and the future folds in them. You leave the Wuguan, shoulders hot, mind smooth, sweat already crystallizing like a map of effort. Paulonia petals still drift. The master's drum note fades. Your wrist panel asks to meet 2 contacts within 1,000 steps. You accept. May and Ren are already at the automatic restaurant on Jade Street, an old lane where hutongs became courtyards of light. You walk so the tonic finishes working. Smart pavement eases underfoot. Paper lanterns glow softly. A local maglev tram floats by. You ignore it, stroll. An old man writes water calligraphy on stones. Lie, ritual, spanning centuries. You adjust your breath, pass a blue and white tiger mural. May texts, "Tea ordered, no baiju, hurry." You, "On my way, save me the breezy seat." Ren sends a fist emoji. The facade looks like clove carved in jade. Spare lines, tall reused wood doors, 2 luck lanterns, stone lions hiding scanners. A digital scroll shows today's solar term, Chu Shu, end of heat, and a Du Fu verse about hungry birds finding rooftop rice. You tap your wrist to the blue and white totem. The house knows your diet needs. No human host, only a silk shadow bows. In a courtyard table, south breeze, pre-warmed Zisha teaware. The floor's water veins rinse dust. You smell jasmine and the sterile scent of cold plasma. Hydroponic herbs glow like constellations. May waves. Ren nods. You bow slightly, saving touch. Etiquette spends social energy wisely. The table cleans itself, lays chopsticks, spoons, sauces. Hot towels scent of tangerine peel. In the center, a twin-dome induction wok waits. Sensors chase the elusive breath of the wok high, without open flame. A glass hood drops, light rails signal approaching dishes. Her vase holds fortune chimes. May flicks one, laughter rings. The menu is a silk scroll unrolling from bamboo, mixing childhood classics and lab inventions. Clear soups to restore, high-heat vegetables to honor the fight, a grain dish that rebuilds without weight. May chooses mapa tofu, soft tofu, fermented dubanjiang, Sichuan pepper. Ren wants la mian, hand-pulled noodles now pulled by a robotic arm. You add vegetable guabao with king oyster mushroom, Maillard browning done by micro-heat bursts. Tea first. Gongfu oolong from Wuyi Cliffs. Nutritional OK flashes green on your wrist. While the kettle warms, May sighs. Honesty meter docked me 2 points for irony. Arrived too early, counted as a lie. You shrug. Algorithms hate subtone. Ren's face stars rose after a new barber fixed his eyebrows. Laughter comes easy. The matte, licensed laughter. May. The dating app says curiosity costs points. You, a world that wants transparency yet punishes questions. Ren asks about watering. You explain the dry tea corridor and sensor-wrapped hoses. Then you all press the Silence Island button. Microphones off, cameras blur. Smiles remain just smiles. Dishes arrive like metal swallows. Tea first, wash, then drink. Mapo tofu trembles, mouth tingles pleasantly. La mian shines, the strand snaps with perfect spring. The hidden wok sears guabao fillings, Maillard aroma rises. You taste wok hei, culture, not fashion. May toasts sans alcohol ganbei. Slow night, no rush. Algae rice with twin grains follows. Creamy amylose, strengthening protein. Iodine from seaweed, sesame oil, radish kimchi. A robot stirs with a grandmother's motion library. May. Some places grow unpalatable, but here I remember why trying matters. Wren. And fighting helps eating. Laughter. You choose pear dessert. Lungs need soothing after dusty morning. 3 equal plates arrive. Sharing avoids dispute. The bill is not a bill. A projection shows common service, carbon footprint, kitchen time. You cover carbon with breathing credits. May trades mentorship hours. Ren donates pedaled energy. A leftover balance is wiped by the restaurant's digital hongbao for a spotless table. The surface parts, crumbs vanish, utensils wash by ultrasound, wok ring cools. Leftovers are sealed in edible algae film. Eat it, or it dissolves. At the exit, you write a brief wish. May kindness still outweigh the sincerity index. You step out into the courtyard as if treading on a slug you don't want to harm. The night has reached the moment when the city turns sweeter. A group plays the erhu, a 2-string instrument that weeps beautifully when it cuts through humid air. A child dances with a fan that opens and closes like a butterfly's wing. A lotus station blinks in the distance, and the green corridor blows river air from the north, a promise of rain. May takes your arm. Tomorrow I'll send you a new list of shade-loving plants. My terrace has turned into a lichens theatre. You answer, send it. I'll adjust the drip so it won't waterlog. Wren points to stones engraved with Tang poems, and the 3 of you step on the syllables like stairs to the gate. A few meters away, a sweeper robot shaped like a turtle gathers leaves and feeds them into a compost collector's mouth. It swerves around couples, thanks to depth vision, and moves on. The city turns without jolts. You look up and see, on a roof, someone has projected slow cloud calligraphy. Wren. Humanity. The way back asks for no hurry. It asks for legs that have understood Baji and now just want to walk. If you're still here with me, lower your screen's brightness, half close your eyes and stay to the end. We still have to cross a night of choices no app can hold. Stay. The future is unhurried but has a path, and walking together soothes. You leave the tea-scented courtyard with your stomach warm and your step light, and the street opens its arms like a river of calm lights. Ahead of you, the neighborhood's main artery runs over a carpet of translucent stone with microscopic algae trapped like green constellations. When foot traffic increases, the pavement itself dims so eyes won't tire. Shops do not shout shop windows. They breathe. Facade panels look like rice paper, but they are electrochromic membranes that turn opaque or transparent according to human density. You blink, and the lenses over your corneas wake in navigation mode. Standard characters give way to a gentle overlay in your language, with discrete notes about every doorway. Physical signs exist, yes, but they are neutral, almost calligraphic, just thin stroke icons and color dots that your lens reads as keys. The rest appears to you as invisible ink only your sight understands. An old luxeal glows above an alley, and the lens explains without sound. Passage leading to a restored Sihewan, a traditional courtyard turned library. A column of light crosses the avenue like digital bamboo, marking the course of wind descending from the green corridor. The breeze touches your skin at a temperature set to the neighborhood's thermal index. In the distance, you hear a swona, metallic and cheerful, not chaotic festival music, but disciplined rehearsal. Every sound seems to have gained a manual of good manners. You go on, and the street, like a patient old master, slows with you. Traffic lights, once red eyes ordering waits, have been reinvented as silent agreements. No lamps hang from cables. There is a flow halo embedded in pavement and facade edges. At corners, digital jade circles glow brighter when it is pedestrians' turn. When vehicles must cross, The jade turns amber and micro-vibrations in the sidewalk suggest pausing. Neighborhood maglev pods announce themselves by shadow before sound, gliding over field blades that don't spark. The capsules, compact, seat two, and speak softly to everything around. One asks permission. Capsule 17 requests passage to deliver medicine 2 blocks away, time critical. Through the lens you see the intention line traced in the air like a wash ink stroke and yield without drama. The halo under your feet pulses twice in thanks, like a bow. Bicycles with flexible bamboo composite stems slide by, each rim lit by tiny LEDs that breathe to signal presence without startling nightbirds. In the central planter, beech trees reinforced with capillary tubing, roots assisted by porous fibers that spread water, whisper. Their leaves are organic photovoltaic blades generating enough energy to feed the soup stall's lights. You notice a sweeper turtle bot that identifies the wrong kind of pebbles and carries them to recycling chutes. The lens murmurs, quartz and granite separated, future use in a school's cooling floor. Everything runs as if someone had read the classics and decided traffic could be a poem. Ads, once gaudy shouts, have become private conversations. Our tea room sign shows only a bamboo drawing to the naked eye. Through your lens, a digital silk roll unfurls, offering 3 infusions with historical notes. The app asks, prefer leaves from Wuyi Mountains or Ma slopes? You refuse with a long blink, and the roll coils back without offense. When a panel tries to push a cosmetic, the city's ethics curator steps in. We noticed you got invasive appearance ratings today. This ad will stay silent. Nothing jumps to hurt. Nothing follows you home uninvited. Instead of bulky lightboards, facades use high-resolution e-ink with calligraffiti, ancient calligraphy animated by soft algorithms, changing with the 24 solar terms. Tonight, the stroke that danced in the restaurant reappears larger here, marking end of heat. You find yourself reading without reading, as if absorbing a sutra in a second. Ho stand seems to sell tangyuan soup. The lens explains the white mortar in the bowls is actually rice ceramics used in the alley's renovation. Farther on, a kiosk repairs umbrellas without human attendance. Tiny arms stitch fabric with thread spun from recycled tea bottles. Most explanations the lens saves for when you ask. You ask little. The night deserves silence. Urban furniture has become a school of patience. Carved stone benches warm or cool with the wind. The heat comes from water coils storing daytime energy and releasing it at night. Trash bins are discreet steles engraved with Tang verses. When something approaches, a gentle field sniffs, reads the object's makeup and opens the right slit. The voice is low and respectful. Paper here, organics there. Thank you for keeping the street clean. At trees' roots, small hexagonal ceramic boxes breathe. They are soil alveoli acting as lungs, exchanging gases and moisture. Tourist plaques, yes, but not to flood you with text. They are stones in low relief with touch sensors. When you tap, your lens activates a miniature reconstruction of the site, projected over reality without aggressive tapestries. At crossings you notice a new kind of stripe, not painted but sprouting from the pavement itself by millimetric microlifters, adding texture for feet and canes. They rise when a child approaches to cross, sink when an elder walks by, always signaling the system to lengthen the interval. Soft chimes are heard when the flow shifts. A woman walks past with leaf-shaped compostable bags, and the pole ring scans her hands, not to watch, but to calculate weight and suggest a path with fewer steps. She thanks Yexi Street. The street replies, "Good evening, watch for damp pavement ahead." Etiquette has become digital protocol. You walk under a garden bridge linking 2 blocks, smelling fresh soil. The suspended walkways aren't black mall bridges. They are green veins the wind tunnels through. Columns of condensed water drip measured droplets, feeding orchids and little ferns. The lens can show micromaps of water regimes, where mist is densest, where leaves collect, where runoff flows. A nightingale drone perches on a branch-shaped cable, spreads its wings and displays rain data. Children laugh, hold out their wrists, and the bird draws next week's forecast on their palms with light. At the foot of the neighboring building, elevators run outside like lanterns ascending, glass capsules whose electrochromic film stays clear up to the 20th floor and clouds afterward for privacy. Next to them, horizontal magnetic corridors slice the sky like temple walkways, letting capsules switch towers without going to ground. You rest your palm on a transparent balustrade. The lens offers the mahjong layout of preserved old streets below. You refuse, preferring an unlabeled view. A vendor of poems, avatar of a municipal archive, recites softly only you can hear. The moon in your window and the moon in mine are the same brightness. You smile at how the past still finds a way to touch you by ear. As you near home, the neighborhood's texture changes. Preserved hutongs blend with garden towers that worship the sky. Your tower's gate hardly looks like one, a wooden frame with traditional joinery, not a single nail visible, embracing a glass arch like still water. You present yourself by touching the wooden bridge. The building recognizes pulse, pressure, the micro-calligraphy of your gesture. No password, no judged face, only body handwriting. The vestibule is a hall of ink and silence, pale stone floor veined like brush strokes, a panel showing the day's wind and the welcome tea aroma that changes with the calendar. Tonight, it is jasmine with tangerine peel, shenpi, soothing digestion and spirit. A small killin-shaped robot offers a cup. You thank it softly. To the right, the elevator waits, more observatory than transport. The cabin doesn't box you in metal. It wraps you in glass that knows when to reveal and when to veil. Through the lens you can summon an information trail, tower water use, rooftop energy output, community gardens needing care. The cabin asks, inside shaft for quiet or outside for the vertical garden view. You choose outside. The body wants horizon. The ascent is an urbanism lesson in one breath. Outside, suspended corridors link blocks like silk ribbons, where people stroll slowly after dinner, digesting with steps, finger tai chi and plant gazing. Every 5 floors, a refuge, a tiny tea room, small library, balcony with shallow fish tank, space to play guqin without hauling the instrument home, open to all, respected by all. The cabin hushes when passing sensitive areas, dimming transparency so as not to invade the lives of residents close to the glass. At some points, the elevator rotates gently, showing the line of the river domesticated by retention gardens, parks by day, lakes when heavy rain comes. Owl drones glide with big eyes, monitoring street light glow to keep it soft. They detect open windows and reroute to avoid intrusion. The logic is lie, right, plus machine learning, learning to pass without stumbling on tranquility. A boy in an elevated corridor chases soap bubbles that a rail nozzle releases every 4 child-registered steps, daily gifts of micro-joy. The elevator notes your faint laugh. The lens records nothing but a reminder. Laughter is also data. Keep it for yourself, if you wish. On your floor, the corridor is garden and gallery. Skylights bring filtered moonlight, and tea camellias in pots cast door shadows, reminding you that the tea plant is also a home tree, not just a drink. The apartment number doesn't shine. It floats like ink in the air, visible only to the lens linked to your wrist. Controlled airflow runs low, carrying the night's perfumes to the central shaft, so they won't get trapped in bamboo fiber carpet. The flooring is resilient, designed to yield if an elder trips, cushioning the fall, and the baseboard bears a red line that will rise as a guide in evacuation. Technology that hopes never to be used, and therefore drills silently once a month, like a monk copying sutras. You pass the shared lounge and see two neighbors playing Go projected onto real stone. The stones are basalt white and slate black, but the board understands the game and logs it for later study. They look up, nod. You return the eyebow. Words will come another day. Tonight the city has already said much. At your door the handle is a copper ribbon that removes static electricity, and softly your haste. The lock recognizes the opening gesture like reading an ideogram. Each resident has their own stroke. Inside, the house lowers everything's tone, reducing urban noise to a pine wind whistle. Exterior walls have a liquid skin, gel that captures heat when there is excess and releases it when lacking. The floor holds the map of your day's steps and suggests a stretching path. 5 points that loosen without demanding exercise, a routine learned from the Wuguan master and translated by the home AI. The window expands on Iris command, showing crowns of trees and a band of sky, where 3 drones trace cloud characters with water vapor, not for ads, for poetry. Shin, heart. The kitchen lights only where your gaze asks. The water filter hums softly when the jug is full. The faucet reminds you that at dawn, the green corridor will change wind direction. You set down the cup, and the house offers a notice. There's a new plant on the neighborhood list needing water. Would you like to adopt one more stop on tomorrow's route? You answer with a short yes. Body wants bed. Mind likes small promises. The building blesses you with a silk rustle. If this crossing brought you peace, save the walk. Leave a heart only if it fits your pocket. And if you'd like company tomorrow, activate the sleep reminder. Then, when the city breathes its poems again, you and I will reach the next piece of night together. Breathe deep. The future, seen from here, knows how to wait. You enter home like passing through a quiet portal. The first gesture is not dramatic. It is ritual. You tilt forward, touch your heel to the raised tatami edge, and the vibrating sole reads what came from the street. Pollen dust, micro raindrops, a grain of sand from the green corridor. The platform hums briefly and draws everything into a filtering belly, like a tiny garden devouring dirt to feed moss. To the sides, 2 drawers open. On the left, the pair of woven bamboo fiber slippers the tower gave out at Mid-Autumn Festival. On the right, the guest ziezi, kept cool by an air blade so no one brings inside the heat of haste. You leave your running shoes on a copper mirror that seems decor but is a demagnetizing plate. It discharges your stride's electricity while scanning soleware to suggest a softer route tomorrow. A calligraphic seal lights in the wood and, through the lens, shows a gentle translation. Peace at home, not a password. Digital etiquette. You breathe. The house answers with a whiff of pine and champy orange peel, scent of a clean night. The low-lit hallway feels like a temple corridor, and you rest your left palm on the jamb like greeting an elder. The home recognizes and, without admitting it, adjusts floor temperature for your feet. The second gesture comes with water. Your grandmother would say, sleep starts with warm feet, and you argue with neither ancient wisdom nor comfort. In the bathroom, the low basin, like a classic tub, wakes with moonlight glow. On the liquid porcelain panel, you choose an infusion of aiye, mugwort used in traditional foot baths to warm and relax legs, and a petal of baihe, lily bulb, that eases chest and breath in Chinese medicine. The house asks, mountain intensity or valley? Mountain means hotter water for less time. Valley, a longer soak with gentle heat. You say valley. The faucet paints fine strands, water nearly silent. While your feet find warmth, a discrete graph appears in the lens. Peripheral circulation rising, heartbeats falling from training pace. You lean your head, close eyes. The sound is not artificial rain, but a recording of the neighborhood lake at late summer, real insects and a jumping carp. The house learned you sleep better when sound comes with imperfections. A digital sand timer trickles on the wall, reminding comfort also needs measure. When done, a warm towel slides from a reinforced rice paper drawer. You dry your feet calmly as someone with no competence to prove. The third layer of night comes through skin. You face the mirror that does not judge, and it returns your face in tissue paper light. The counter offers 3 bottles and no sentences. First, tremella water, the silver ear mushroom, rich in polysaccharides that hold moisture without harsh scent. In the future, simple things stay simple, only more precise. Next, a mist of nano-emulsified Longjing green tea. The catechins act like an umbrella. Against small inflammations the city leaves in pores. Lastly, a thin oil with traces of Ganoderma lucidum, reishi, revered for toning, in safe topical concentration. Nothing miraculous, only consistent. You apply with hands, not flashing gadgets. The mirror shows a jaw tension map and suggests 3 gua sha strokes with a quartz piece from the drawer. Gua sha is gentle scraping to release stagnation and boost microcirculation. The cool stone on your neck lets warmth bloom in the trapezius. The lens whispers enough lest care become chore. Mouth care ends with a dusting salt from the northern salt lake mixed with field mint leaves. The brush vibrates to the poem you memorized at school. Brushing to verse tempo keeps haste away. The tongue is grateful. Breath leaves clean without anyone awarding stars. The body wants a bath, but night bathing is farewell, not fight. Your shower's grand name, warm cloud, is simply a broad blade releasing water at spring rain speed. Less than the old world used in 1,000 baths, more than a damp cloth could. You tap the juniper icon and a low ginger note, 2 scents that warm without numbing. The house releases micro-vapor, with droplets sized not to irritate. Foam comes from a solid rice soap bar with bamboo charcoal, old and new, cleans without stripping skin. While water flows, the rooftop solar heater draws a blue trace in the lens, announcing all energy came from that afternoon's sun. You nod in silence as someone served a meal from homegrown ingredients. Exiting the linen towel is autumn sun warm, and a cedar stool invites slow drying, no rubbing. You don a pajama the AI suggests for the night winds index. Bamboo blend fiber, 3/4 sleeves, cloth that grants weight without heat. As you dress, room light dims another notch, shifting spectrum away from blue. The city trains homes to revere melatonin like a temple. You do not argue. Peace needs no neon. In the kitchen, the recurring question appears without urgency. Eat or just drink? Some nights ask for nothing, others for something small, almost a gesture. The fridge shows no flashing shelves. It opens like a wooden cabinet with ceramic jars labeled in calligraphic script. You choose a millet pumpkin porridge, xiaomi zhou, northern comfort food, here light, tea bowl portion. The cooker is a conductive porcelain disc, recognizing the pot, heating softly by induction. Beside it, a slender kettle masquerades as decor, but is a water mural, a translucent column showing hardness, pH, thermal memory. You drop 2 ginger slices and 3 hongzhou dates that sweeten without shouting, and in tradition, nourish blood. The porridge warms in 3 minutes. Stirring with a bamboo spoon, you see a corner reminder. Screens now would harm dreams. The house forbids nothing. It asks politely. You sit on a low bench and eat slowly, no big spoon announcing haste. Salt comes from soy sauce, aged with microorganisms in the building's basement. Collective fermentation project. The spoon's handsome scratches remind you future doesn't mean absence of marks. After the bowl, the last tea has no caffeine to disturb, just jasmine-scented water from cold room petals. The cup warms your hands, and your hands warm the cup. Elbows on the table, you let your head drift 100 kilometers from any feed. The lens, which has delivered maps, translations and small miracles today, enters monk mode. No notifications, no pop-up face ratings. Yet like an old shadow, the social reputation index tries to approach with its packet of stats, tallying small truths corrected, small promises delayed, selfie filters avoided. The house senses the noise and erects a screen. Tonight, rest from the world, it writes on a wall corner in water-like Hanzi. You smile at the gentle shield, and the part of you that still values by others' ruler forgets to measure. On the shelf, a Tang poetry booklet opens to the autumn wind page. You read 2 lines softly. The house listens as to a child reciting lessons learned in the courtyard. In the living room, the futon that looks like a sofa recalls its purpose. Sleep. The console seeks permission to cleanse air silently. You consent. The purifier evaporates water over river pebbles. 2 sandalwood drops drift slowly. In the corner, the collision lamp traces a breathing ideogram on the ceiling. Inhale 4 beats, hold 4, exhale 6. Not fashion, an old method with a metronome that won't rush. The mattress vents micro air channels to be neither firm nor soft, only present. A lightly weighted seed pillow speaks your neck's language. It conforms, never coercing. Beside it, the shuikin, water harp, sleeps. You wake it with a touch, and it returns 4 notes recalling Guqin over current. You could program stories to fall asleep, but tonight you choose only household silence. The window understands and dims to ink. Outside, drones draw mist characters. Inside, bamboo shadow on rice paper keeps closed eyes company. Before lying down, you visit the small altar of simple things on the console. A river stone from childhood, a plum twig gifted early spring, a clipping with names of trees planted along your corridor. You add the QR of a seedling adopted today by the neighbor from the 15th floor, the kind of data the whole world could boast about, yet only the community needs. Beside it, a digital hongbao of gratitude goes to the floor's commons fund. Not money as money once was, but care credit. Hours you promise for bike repairs or teaching a child to tend a succulent. You whisper to the house, "Tomorrow, wake me with Bamboo Flute, Volume 2. The house replies, "Tomorrow, clouds between sky, green corridor at 7:10. Thanks are unnecessary. Yet you thank. New etiquette is still etiquette. The AI offers sleepwear based on your body's heat map. You look to the shelf and choose the old indigo-dyed cotton inherited from a Guizhou artisan's market. The machine learns something about preferences beyond algorithms. At the futon's edge, you perform 3 brief stretches learned at the Wuguan. Ankle circles, head tilts, yes and no to loosen scales, a self-hug freeing scapulae. Lights brush the floor like asking leave. The lens, faithful, whispers the day's last reminder. Closing eyes is political in a world always open. Sleeping is a way of saying no to others' clocks. You smile and tap moon mode. If this moment did you good, if it brought you closer to sleep than to screens, save today's audio. Return whenever you wish. If you feel someone else needs a softer night, share it quietly tomorrow, like leaving ready tea at a friend's door. Outside, the city stays alive and gentle. Inside, you allow the body to lower its guard. Silence arrives not as absence, but as calm presence. You enter it with feet already warm, skin asking rest, and chest free of scores or stars. Good night. Tomorrow the green corridor will need you, and you will. You switch off the ordinary lights, yet the day is not over until you pass through the small ritual of the records. The wall panel wakes in a lotus hue, gentle on the eyes, and opens the contribution diary, the public ledger of those who tend the city. A ribbon of your route between gardens appears, blue points where you delivered water, green points where you adjusted the drip line, one amber point where the mist palm needed extra ventilation. The interface looks like ink on paper, not glass. The city learned that eyes rest better on what resembles plant fiber. You tap the leaf icon and write a few field lines as if jotting a poem. Today the southern courtyard maple responded in 6 minutes, the sidewalk lotus opened late, the elm roots felt thirsty sooner than forecast because of the west wind. The system asks for photo proof. You point the lens at the leaves and the algorithm reads gloss, color, diameter, signs of pests. The entry converts your hours into care credits, not money but bonus time that unlocks classes, community tools, and the right to borrow any instrument from the floor's music room for a week. You accept 2 hours instead of 4, having learned that a good life is also measured by hours returned. The screen asks whether to publish. You choose bamboo mode, which shows actions, not your name. Merit must exist, but need not pose. A rooftop breeze delivers an invitation. Wind vigil has begun. Neighbors tuning wind harps and sharing tea aloft. Barefoot, you carry a fine teapot and 8 rolled jasmine leaves up the stairs. On the terrace, cords stretch between masts like calligraphy strokes in the sky. When the wind passes, a faint chord crosses the skin. The lady from the 15th floor smiles with her eyes, saying tonight the sound feels like autumn. A boy from the 7th asks to hear it again. You sit on a warm stone bench, pour water into the porcelain and give the clear fragrance back to the night's hands. There is temple silence, broken only by fitting human noise. Someone blows a bamboo flute, someone reads a verse. It is a selfie-less gathering. The building's reputation panel is switched off by agreement, so no one confuses fellowship with performance. You leave a packet of care credits in the clay pot, the same common fund that will pay to fix the green corridor when wind snaps a mast, and descend with your body half a tone lower. Interaction here is ritual, not showcase. Guanxi, the web of relations, is woven with tea and patience. Back inside, the city reminds you that modernity carries weight. The lens timidly shows the daily portrait reminder, the neutral face photo the municipal hospital uses to tune your preventive schedule. Micro-expressions help estimate fatigue, mood, sleep time, stress signs. Framed in soft light, you take the shot. No filter, no stars, no rating. The portrait goes to a health vault and then fades from your view. Another, older and less wise app tries to catch your attention with fairground shine. It wants to rate your accumulated sincerity and romantic compatibilities by the algorithmic average of small truths and small lapses of the day. You look, breathe, and deny permission. Mianzi, the idea of face reputation, is ancient here, but tonight you decide your face belongs to the house, not the scoreboard. A friend sends a short message. Saw your watering log and remembered my grandfather carrying buckets. Your reach is lighter and farther. You reply equally short. Learned from those who came before. Conversation ends as it began, without proof anxiety. Some bonds refuse the stage. You ready tomorrow with gestures more domestic than technical. You open the running drawer and check the microfiber cloth that dries sweat without stealing salt from skin. The shoes reconnect to the demagnetizing plate again. not by need, by fine habit. The system measures misalignments and suggests a temporary insole to protect the knee on the park descent, because today you overdid the Shudao kata, your fighting style. Tomorrow's route appears on the room's light screen like an ink stroke, 11.3 kilometers along the Jacaranda Ring, 3 stops marked by drop symbols for quick camellia watering. You confirm. Ask the house to boil water at 6:08 and leave a thermos of diluted pure on the hall bench, a dose that awakens without exciting. AI offers training clothes by due index, but you choose manually. Guizhou dyed cotton shirt, bamboo pocket shorts, socks like cloud. Here aesthetics converses with function, and function with affection. In the bedroom, the bed awaits with little visible tech, much quiet engineering. It looks like a futon on wooden platform, and is, but beneath it runs an air channel field the house calls tatami breathing, microflows of warm or cool air, calibrated to evaporate sweat slowly and keep the mattress dry without stealing warmth. The mattress is a bamboo fiber lattice with aerogel, light as glass sponge, distributing weight and erasing pressure points. If aerogel sounds distant, think of foam that scarcely weighs yet still keeps heat when needed. The pillow is buckwheat hulls, hard grains in a sack, old tradition, now with a thin sensor warning if the head tilts too much and tucks the chin, squeezing breath. The quilt is raw silk with cotton, no battery, no wire, just material that hugs without sticking. Overhead the silence vault, panels emitting countersound waves, softly erases city rumble without killing the far cry of a late-night dumpling vendor, a memory you like to keep. Windows don't darken all at once. They pass through a twilight palette and stop at the hue of the lake blue memory you chose at the Moon Festival. You think of social life like someone watching fish in a tank. Approval apps persist, promising fair measurements like scales. You've seen them reward symmetrical faces and voices that talk in presentation softness. At 29, you collect invitations rejected by algorithms and long walks accepted by people who preferred to watch the world rather than the ranking. Tonight, a softened notification alerts that an old chat was re-evaluated for exemplary community care. Soon certain compatibility filters will include your work in the green corridor. The heart beats less for ranking than for recall. The short-haired woman who liked how you talked to trees promised to stop by the garden Tuesday. Instead of hunting her in a star window, you arrange tools so she can learn your craft by hand. Guanxi forms this way: shared task, comfortable silence, occasional laughter. Before bed, you open the pocketbook the tower lent this week, Essays on Rest, by an author who slept on bullet trains. It says something simple in water words. Rest is the space where life writes itself. You read 2 paragraphs, close halfway through a sentence. An open line calls the body back tomorrow. The house dims lights further and projects a breathing ideogram on the wall. You follow the drawing with your belly as the martial master taught. Inhale through nose, deep, 4 counts. Hold 2. Release 6, like pouring water. Heart rate appears in the corner. No numbers as a flower opening and closing. You think without pain of parents in another province, the friend who joked with you at the automatic restaurant, the pal who always reaches the dojo early. Sleep builds the bridge among all. If this passage helps and you want to find it faster tomorrow, tap the silent reminder here. And mark someone who deserves a gentle night. When many sleep better, the city breathes better. Then comes the day's last gesture, simple and final. You open the night routine app and record the 2 lines it asks. Water delivered, 412 equivalent liters, symbolic, not monetary. Useful steps, 18204, route confirmed, mood in 1 word, light. The daily portrait, filter-free and unposed, was sent to the health vault. You glance once at your face and let it go. No applause sought. No explanation given. The bed accepts your weight as if it has waited since sunrise. The lattice mattress yields where needed, supports where it must. The buckwheat pillow arranges the neck curve with quiet precision. The quilt is heavy enough to remind the body, light enough for skin to forget the world. The silence vault seals the city to a breathable hush, and the room smells of wood and tea. You feel comfortable, not because technology staged luxury, but because everything here was designed to ask nothing in return. The app asks if you want dream guidance mode. You tap no. Tonight you prefer only the house. The light shuts like an eyelid. The last sensation is a warm hand holding your chest from inside, telling you it's all right to let the guard down. You sleep. And while you sleep, the city does what you spent the whole day working for. It stays alive, green, quiet, a little softer for whoever comes after.